All right.
All right.
Good morning, everybody. It is Friday, July 16. The slaughterhouse of failure is not in my destiny. I shall persist until I succeed. Today, we're going to talk about what is described as the dash. The dash is usually, Okay, good morning, everybody. This is July 16, 2021. Today, the slaughterhouse of failure is not my destiny. I shall persist until I succeed, Og Mandino. So today we're going to talk about the dash. We've actually once before talked about this. And basically it's two dates, two locations, the beginning and an end, start to finish, birth to death. So life is an obstacle course punctuated by successes and failures, challenges and opportunities, an emotional roller coaster. So the dash is when we're born, it's like a race until we die. So what do we do in between? How full is that life that we have? How full is that dash? What have we done with that? And I just want to highlight Dan Burke and this particular part of it for his health issues, which were very, very, very serious, very serious. And obviously it's a cause for introspection. It was a surprise. It's a curveball. It's reassessments of our lives. So Dan, why don't you tell us a little bit about your dash and this particular episode of this obstacle course and this challenge and curveball that you're still overcoming.
Sure. So obviously, anytime you have a major health issue or something going on in your life, you tend to reassess what's going on in your life and how you're going to live the rest of your life and what changes you want to make in your life. And so that's been a huge part of this journey for me is, I've always, I was in medical device sales for 25 years. And, I was always chasing, making that next dollar. And that was the most important thing to me at that point. But my goal was always to retire early from medical device sales and do something that was a little bit more in the realm of helping other people. And so I was able to do that a few years ago, and I got into this business. And so that affords me the time to be able to help people, inspire people, help them out financially, reaching their financial goals, reaching their personal goals, things along those lines. And so, we need to remember to embrace each and every day, think about what matters, what truly matters in life, make every moment matter. And you do that by being present and mindful of the time we have here, right? The dash represents the time that we have lived here on Earth and how we're going to, between the time that we're born and the time that we leave this Earth, what are we going to do to make an impact on both ourselves and others? What legacy are we going to leave for those that come behind us? How are we going to inspire others to be the best that they can be, to reach their goals, to reach the success that they want to see in life? And, it's all about just elevating ourselves and elevating ourselves and others to reach those goals. So how are we going to spend the time that we have here? Will you spend it with passion and purpose? How will you make the most of every single moment? We don't remember days, we just remember moments and experiences. And so, I'm not a big person that spends a lot of money on things. I'm not very materialistic. I tend to spend more time and energy on experiences and moments that we're going to remember. And you know, those are my goals moving forward. But my goals are also to be successful in both this business and helping others to be successful in this business.
So this is where we have this emotional roller coaster of life, where we're successful and we're on a high, and we're happy, everything's going well apparently, and so on. And then suddenly we have something that is very serious, and we then look more at other aspects of our lives, and it isn't just material, and it's this component of our families, of the people that surround us. And you know, I had a talk once, and people criticized me for saying, what is your tombstone? What is your what are you going to write on? What is your epitaph? What are you going to write on your tombstone? How do you want to be remembered? How does that happen? So these are things that are really important. How we live our lives, and how we help others, and how we inspire others. But first, we've got to be inspired ourselves, because if we are personally not inspired, and if we personally are not absolutely sure and positive, then we are people that can be influenced positively or negatively. But we need to have our own concept, our own positive concept, and our own belief system that motivates us to go forward. So each, in this dash that we have, there are all sorts of little sectors. Like, for example, we go to college. That's a new beginning of something, and we've got to try and achieve something there. Then we get married. Then we have a whole relationship with that, and that's another dash, if you will, beginning of where we go. So all of these things, grandchildren, children, these are all parts of our lives that are fundamentally important, but we cannot get away from our own feeling of being sure of what we want, of how we can get it, how we can help other people. And you know, Pharmanex was a new beginning for us, for all of us. We all had our lives somewhere else. None of us came into Pharmanex from when we came out of college, I don't think. So it's a new beginning for everybody. And we're weaving our way to success with this obstacle course of what challenges we have. And we've got to be able to overcome them and be absolutely sure and confident, and have an attitude that we can go through it.
Absolutely. You know, it's about, you know, how are you going to spend your dash? You know, how are you going to spend those years between when you're born and when you're laying on your deathbed? How are you going to be remembered? What are you going to do to make people remember you? You know, we just this last weekend, we laid my 90-year-old uncle to rest. We spread his ashes, and you know, we spent a lot of time talking about what kind of person he was, what he taught us, you know, what his values were, and things along those lines. And so, you know, we were talking about his dash. You know, he left an awesome legacy. He was the kind of person that never had a bad word to say about anybody. He was hardworking. He had 3 daughters that loved him and unconditionally. And you know, it's about what are you going to do to create how people are going to remember you? You know, and a lot of that comes down to, you know, living without regrets and inspiring others to do the same. You know, I'm turning 50 this year, and I was thinking about this whole talk last night, and you know, it's about living your dreams and, you know, helping others achieve their dreams. I've, you know, in my 50 short years, I've achieved most of my dreams, and so now I'm creating new dreams. You know, and one of those dreams is to be involved in this business and create a lifestyle for myself and my family where we can do what we want when we want to do it, and we're not encumbered by a 9-to-5 job and and the things that go along with that, the stress and the anxiety and everything else. And I was talking to a good friend of mine this week and telling him about this business, and that I had retired from medical device sales, and he's like, "Oh man, that would be awesome. How did you do that? I'd love to do that same thing." And it's about taking responsibility for yourself and walking out on a limb and taking that chance to be successful and do what you want to do, and not be told what to do at a normal 9-to-5 job. So, we had a good chat about that, and how he could maybe incorporate this business into his life as well. And I think what we need to remember about this business is it's just like any other job. There's highs and there's lows. And right now, we are in an extreme high. We have this new collagen product that's coming out, this pre-launch. It's been awesome. It's been a lot of fun, getting people to excited about the product itself, and having them purchase and try that product. And so, the next 5 days, we're all going to get more codes, hopefully, if you sold all your initial codes. And our job is to then, use the additional codes that we've been given. But more importantly, this is going to be a 3-month, 6-month, 9-month long process, right? So my goals are to use all my codes, get this product in the hands of as many people as I can, so that they have a product experience. And then I'm going to go back to them and upsell them on the LumiSpa. Hey, would you like to see even better results? We have a study showing that there's increased results using the LumiSpa with the collagen. And then, a month before the actual release comes out, they'll have had an experience with the product for 2 months. Hey, would you be interested in sharing this with other people? And so that's how you're going to build your team, and you're going to build your business. And this product has me excited because it gives us the opportunity to upsell. It crosses that barrier between the nutritional side and the beauty side, but it also gives us the ability to upsell, because they've done that research to show that the LumiSpa provides additional results, right? And then, from there, we can introduce them to the toothpaste. If they have a good experience with both of those products, then the company becomes trustworthy, because the products do what they say they're going to do, and we can get them to try additional products. So that's what has me excited. This is my dash at the moment. This is how I'm going to create a revenue stream for my family moving forward. And even when I'm gone, that's going to be a legacy that I'm going to leave. And that's one of the things that has me really excited about this business.
So 100%. And the exciting thing is that the company constantly gives us new beginnings. We had a new beginning with a scanner. We had a new beginning with the age-lock platform of products, which were both oral and topical. We've had new beginnings with the Galvanic Spa. We've had beginnings with the LumiSpa. The Boost is now being used in South America. We can get it. We're going to get that here. And as you say, there's a transition that is allowing us to go from being, with horse blinkers on, just looking at the scanner and the products that are oral, such as, Life Pack and what have you, where we can now go into the beauty products as well, without losing our authenticity of health. So we're looking at health, and we can now say health from the inside and health from the outside. So it's actually exciting that we've got another new beginning, and another new beginning is today with the collagen, and that is unlimited possibilities that can come of it. So the company has dangled in front of us this month, and last month, a phenomenal carrot. And that is, you could become a brand rep with 2,000 points, get 5 points, 5 codes. And if you get rid of those 5 points, 5 codes, you can double those, and therefore have 10 codes, which is uh, 3 months supply for 10 people. Can we not do that? Absolutely, yes. And that is where we can start seeding or sowing the seeds of something that could become very, very, very big, and which is a consumable product. So, these are all new beginnings. At least this is a new beginning within our dash of life, and it's something that we can be bold enough to talk about, which is not just the healthcare, but it's also health and beauty.
Absolutely. And that's what makes it so exciting, right? And, this is an opportunity to not only build your personal business, but it's also an opportunity to help build your team. And you need to have a plan to do that. It's not going to just happen organically. And part of that is, having others trust and believe in what you believe in, and believing in the company as well. And so, it's elevating others to step outside their comfort zone, believe in what we know we have with Nu Skin Pharmanex, and then inspiring others. And I think, a big part of this business is creating a team of like-minded individuals. And when you have a personality, or you come from a place of joy, compassion, and kindness, people see that, and then they want to be part of what you're doing, right? And it doesn't take a lot of work or a lot of salesmanship to get that point across, because you're just being authentic, right? And when you're authentic, that comes across to people, and they want to be a part of what you're a part of, right? And so happiness and joy and compassion and kindness, that breeds in others, right? When you show that kind of attitude, that breeds in others, and then you create a culture and a team that have the same mindset that you have, and those people are going to be much more likely to stay with you longer term. Because this business has a lot of ups and downs. You bring people into the business and they're not productive, or and you spend a lot of time trying to get them to be productive, and then they may drop off for a little bit. They may come back, they may not. There's just a lot of ups and downs, highs and lows in this business. But I tend to try and forget about the lows and just concentrate on the highs. And when you do that, I think you're going to see a lot more success, because you're not going to have those off days where you're worried about the lows, or you're thinking about the lows. And so for me, it's all about elevating myself with my mindset, and then elevating others in the same fashion.
When you have a low, which we all do at some time, if you just look back at the high that you had yesterday or the day before or last week, and feed into that, and that's like having food, which starts to work positively. Because if we focus on the low, then we're in deep doo-doo, we're in trouble. We've got to focus on what is positive. And even if it's a small win that we've had, just somebody we've had a nice conversation with, we've opened a relationship with, somebody that feels that they can make a difference to their own lives. And it's thanks to the company that we're with and who we are. And as you said, Dan, authenticity, integrity, these are walk your talk, be who you are, but be who you are by having elevated yourself to a state where you see life. People said to me often, you see life through rose-tinted glasses. No, I don't. I choose to see what I see that is inspirational, that is motivational, that makes me feel that that the world is beautiful. Because we can look at something that's terrible and focus on that, and then we'll all go down a downhill spiral. So we've got now, again, a new beginning. We've got this collagen. We've got new people. I mean, I've started calling people that I haven't spoken to probably in 5 or 6 years. And I've said, I've just thought about you, because it was never my thing to talk about skincare. But, since I know you care about it, and we now have something. So that is both skin and health. So it's allowed me to get in there. And it's not something like I'm calling just to sell you something. I'm calling because I'm considering, I'm aware of your interests of beauty. So we have something that's both ways. That's why I'm calling you. I haven't spoken in 5 years.
It's all about how you approach it. It's not, you're not approaching it from, I don't use the word sales. I don't use, when I talk to somebody, I don't say, yeah, I've got something to sell. It's all about, we've got a new product that's going to help your health and wellness. It's going to increase your skin elasticity, your glow. And this is all you're going to see results in the first month. And then if you want to, you can add LumiSpa to it and see results even quicker. So it's just about introducing people to what we have. And a lot of people don't know about Collagen Plus Beauty Focus. It's not, the company doesn't advertise this stuff. So it's up to us to be the advertisers, to be the marketers. That's basically what we're doing. We're not salespeople. We're just advertisers and marketers. We're just showing people what we have. It's that simple. It's not rocket science. It's just having a conversation with somebody and weaving in what we have to meet their interests. We know people that are interested in health and wellness. We know people that are interested in skincare. It's finding those people and having a genuine conversation with them and just letting them know what we have. And then it's up to them whether or not they want to try the products or not.
And we've got such an arsenal of products that, we get called by many companies on many of the technologies that we have for an upgrade. Oh, we've now got this upgrade that can make whatever you've got more efficient, or whatever system you're using. We've got this new upgrade. So we're no different. We've got constant upgrades for our products to be able to help people make look better or feel better or be healthier. So we've got so many products, and we can have fun with that. Many years ago, I think it was Scott Bennett said, many companies have only one product. And if we only had one product, like for example, Vitality, you could actually make a business out of Vitality. You could make a whole business out of selling Vitality if that was the only product you have. And one of the challenges we have is that we've got so many products that our focus and concentration gets diluted. So we've got to stay focused on where we are and what we're doing, and it's important to do that, to stay focused.
Lawrence, that's all I have. Do you want to see if there's any questions or comments that anybody wants to share on what we've been talking about today?
Sure.
If you have any questions or comments, feel free to come off of mute and add your 2 cents.
It's Martin. I wanted to say that when we're at trade shows where there are other providers of nutritional products, we frequently see booths where there is just one product. It might be a fish oil, it might be a keto product, it might be this or that. And these companies seem to be there, year after year. So clearly they're making some kind of a living out of doing that. And I remember a conversation with Nathan Ricks when he was visiting Orlando. It was probably about 6 or 7 years ago. And I said to him, what do you think is the best path to make $1 million business? And he said, Martin, there are so many inside New Skin. He said, you can do it with the facial spa, which we had at the time, the galvanic spa. He said, you could do it with LifePak. You can do it with the scanner. You can do it with so many different areas. He said, the problem in many cases for us is we have an embarrassment of riches. And it's just really a question of choosing the path that you want to tread. And for me, that has clearly been the nutritional path with the scanner. And I think for most people on the call, and that's it's a very worthwhile path to tread, in my opinion, because you're doing so much good for the people that you help with the products. Just as an example, I have some workmen here at the house. They're building a terrace at the back of my home. And when I first met the gentleman who owns the business, he was, gosh, he was so weak. He was moving with difficulty. He was debilitated. He had problems because he'd had pneumonia in one lung repeatedly over about 5 years, almost constantly on antibiotics. And he had a huge growth of what seemed like elephant skin behind one of his knees. And I asked him yesterday, how are you doing? And he's back. And over the intervening weeks, I've watched this man get stronger. And he's now out again working with his team, which for the last 5 years he hasn't been able to do. The elephant skin's almost gone. And I got my scanner out there sitting on a wall ready to scan him this morning. To be able to have a business which gives us these life-changing opportunities for these victories is just, to me, incredibly compelling. It's just a real contribution. And that, to me, is a worthwhile thing to pursue.
So you actually gave him or recommended some products that we have?
Yes, I put him on LifePak Nano. And I've called him up and followed up with him. I'm making sure he's taking it twice a day. I mean, I've seen so many instances of LifePak Nano changing lives, not least my own. And to me, this was going to be something that was going to be important for him. And so it has proven to be.
Wow, interesting. That's great. That is gratifying. That's really gratifying. Good job.
Hey, you guys, as just a follow up to that, I think Martin's so right, is you find something that you're passionate about yourself and something that fills a need for you in your life. And I don't let a vendor go into my house and out without having been scanned. It just almost never happens. And I did have an instance, not as big as Martin's, with a guy that actually got on product. And then he later told me, he said he used to have terrible anxiety and it was just LifePak, but he said, this is really helping me. And so you just never know where that person is that you can help. And I think it's, I'm inspired by you guys. I hear stories like this and it makes me really want to just step out of my comfort zone and tell somebody who's doing granite in your bathroom, can I do something with you to just show you something about your own health? And I think we should all try to be more like that. In 90% of the time, they won't do something. But if you change that one person's life that came in your house, that person typically is not going to get the opportunity to meet someone like you at a health fair or something. And so this gives them an avenue that they just don't typically have.
I think most people are so wrapped up in their daily activities that they don't even think about their health. They just don't take the time to think about it because they're so busy doing other things. And so Martin made a great point about, focus on the things that resonate with you. And when I was in medical device sales, I was one of the few guys in our territory that carried every single product line that we had. Most people just focused on one product line. And I was successful doing that just because I'm a pretty decent multitasker. I know for the women out there, men can't multitask. I hear that every day. But I think it's important with this business to focus on what resonates with you. Whether it be the nutritional side or the skincare side. But then you pick 4 or 5 products that inside and out. Right. And you focus on those 4 or 5 products. You focus on the LifePak, you focus on the LifePak Nano, the ageLOC Youth. And then I think you need to have a few of the skincare products in your arsenal as well. LumiSpa, maybe Baobab body butter or something like that. You just have a couple of go-tos and you can make a really healthy business out of 4 or 5 products that you forwards and backwards, and you can just introduce to folks.
I think it's a very interesting thing to realize that there have been hundreds of team elites created just through toothpaste. And toothpaste was a kind of an also ran product that we had in the product portfolio of the company for about 25 years, until a girl in England suddenly said, you know what, I can really sell this like crazy. And she then got all the other young mums who were taking their kids to the same school as her, got them all involved, got them all selling it as well. And suddenly her business ballooned. And then Rebecca Morris came over to the UK to have a look and see exactly what they were doing and how they were doing it. She brought that back to the United States. And I think she has something like 191 people on the next success trip. This is incredible, and this is through toothpaste. And it's been very interesting to see on television that there has been a real increase in the number of the major companies like Procter & Gamble advertising their own whitening toothpaste offerings on television. And I suspect they may be feeling a little pressure in some respects. So, and again, you look at things like the LumiSpa, and you look and you see what happened to Clarisonic, which I don't believe is in business anymore. The competition was just too fierce with a vastly better disruptive product. So we have these disruptive products, and for me, obviously, with the perfect face for radio, I just decided that the rather than using the skincare stuff and trumpeting my beauty from the rooftops, for me, it was going to be about wellness and helping people live a better quality of life. I watched it with my father. At about age 85, we got him on LifePak. It was the European version of LifePak, which is a little different than ours. And his score went from 45 to 73,000, and it stayed there the remainder of his life. And he was basically very, very healthy. And you know, Joe Chang's vision is always for us to die healthy as late in life as possible. I couldn't agree more.
Absolutely. And so, you know, you talk about toothpaste and people building a business on just toothpaste. Collagen Beauty Focus can be our toothpaste if you want it to be.
Yes.
Right. And that's the beauty of this. The company's done an excellent job with all of their collaterals. You know, there's lots of smug mug assets for social media. You know, they've given us all the tools to be successful with this one product. And if you concentrate on this for the next 3 to 6 months, you know, or the next year, this can be your toothpaste.
Yeah.
Agree. You know, I've just thought about something. I got a call yesterday from a doctor in Colombia, and he said, I've got a patient who's got Parkinson's, and he's also diabetic. What would you say? And I said, well, first of all, I'm not a doctor, and obviously we cannot recommend, treat, or anything like that. However, I did call one of the product support people, an important one, and I said to him, would it be convenient if I say AIE10 and LifePak, because it doesn't have any added sugar, and maybe tea green? And he said, spot on. So, you know, it kind of becomes interesting when you've got a physician calling to ask for something that might help his or her patients. And we have the resources to be able to get accurate information, to be able to just pass on the information and let the doctor make up his own decision. But Parkinson's, and the reason I'm saying that is because some time ago, about a year ago, we had an interview with Dr. Lewis Cady. And I asked him, why would a psychiatrist be interested in antioxidants? And I understand that Parkinson's is also a neurological thing, but he said, just go to pubmed.org and check the number of studies. So, you know, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, autism, all of these things, antioxidants. So we talk about LifePak, we're talking about tea green and no sugar in it. So we've got some really, really good products. And this is what makes me always stand 10 feet tall.
And we can prove they work.
Mhm.
Yeah, I just want to make one correction. It's pubmed.gov.
Gov,
Correct.
sorry, you're right.
Yeah.
PubMed.gov. You're right. Thank you. PubMed.gov. You're right. Thank you. Details, man. Details. Good job.
I don't know if you've looked up on pubmed.gov the different studies on collagen, but if you look up a number of different studies, you'll find, and it's just like going through them with our antioxidants, you'll find 20,000 studies with collagen and cancer, 20,000 studies of collagen and heart disease. It's amazing the different diseases, eye diseases. You've got 10,000 studies of collagen and eye. You have 5,000 studies, 5,400 of collagen and cornea. So trust me, this is just step one of the collagen story. I'm telling you.
Wow.
I don't know if I don't know if you all use it, but if ever I'm going to see a doctor, unless it's obviously family medicine or general medicine, in which case we know we're doing a more general presentation. But if I'm going to see somebody who has a specialty, I will look up what the maladies or what the health issues are that physician is going to be treating. And I will put oxidative stress and the condition in the search bar in pubmed.gov. And every time I can walk into the doctor's office with, knowledge that there are literally thousands of studies on that particular issue, which are going to arm me very powerfully with the knowledge that we can be of help to his patients or her patients. And that's a pretty strong come from to be able to walk in with.
Martin, I was literally going to go see a urologist. I did exactly what you do. We're two peas in the same pod. A urologist, what the hell could it possibly connect to collagen, right? 12,215 studies.
Wow, that's impressive. What about oxidative stress and neurological problems? I'm sure there are plenty of those too.
Yeah, I have metabolic disease, 13,000 studies. Arthritis, 14,700 studies. Joints, 18,000 studies.
Yeah. And we're putting into the body this extraordinary product, which will basically triage the issues that whoever the consumer that takes it has.
Well,
as it does with all our products. It's amazing what, give the body the nutrition it needs, and it does extraordinary things with it.
Yeah, I think Lawrence is absolutely right that this product has the potential to be our toothpaste if we want it to be.
It was Dan.
Yep.
Dan said that, yeah.
Oh, Dan, pardon me, Dan.
Come on, Jim, give me a little bit of credit. All right, well, it's 10:12. We're going to wrap it up today. Thanks everybody for your comments and additions to the discussion. Really appreciate it. And we will see you next Friday morning.
Right.
Great call and ideas, guys. Have a great meeting. I mean, weekend.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Great weekend, everybody.
Thanks, Lawrence. Thanks, Dan.
Yeah,
Thank
as
you,
always,
everybody.
very good stuff. Thank
Had a
you
great
very
week, King.
Blessings to you all. Thank you so much for your input.